Why is James Brown Miller the Old West worst outlaw? When you hear the words worst outlaw of the Old West, who came first in your mind? Billy the Kid, Johnny Ringo, Jessy James, and more to mention were some of the famous outlaws that made their name known at that time. However, in this video, we will show you the story of greed, ambition, and betrayal of a man who ended up as the West's worst outlaw, James "Killer" Miller. The story of Miller started with his family moving into a place where his father worked as a stonemason. A few years after that, his father died, so his mother decided and took him along with his siblings to live with her parents. You won't believe that when he was 8, his grandparents were mysteriously killed, and he was the suspect at that time. It was believed that Miller was the one responsible for the crime. However, it was ruled out since it was unbelievable for a kid to commit murder. So he continued his life and stayed with his sister along with his widowed mother. As if it was a coincidence, Miller was involved again in another murder. This time was different, since he got arrested for the murder of his sister's husband. Later on, due to some technicalities, he was freed of his charges. So this time he started a new life in Town, where he got married and started a saloon of his own. It seems Miller had turned a new leaf and was well liked by the town for being polite and kind. It was said that he was a religious person and someone who didn't smoke and drink alcohol. Being famous and skilled, he was promoted as deputy sheriff and later on as town marshal. His heyday continued until one day in April, his colleague Fraser discovered his involvement on some robberies and raids committed by the local gangs in their place. They got into a heated quarrel that made Miller anxious and unable to control his temper. Fraser anticipated his next move, so he shot first, which wounded Miller and brought him to his knees. So to finish off Miller, he shot him in the chest but was saved by the metal plate he wore under his coat. After another encounter with Fraser, this metal plate proved to be useful and saved him again. Convinced that this will never end until one of them is dead, he decided to put an end to this long-term quarrel. It was in September of the same year. Miller caught Fraser unprepared, so he took his chance and shot him dead. This murder was witnessed by a local, which led to Miller's arrest. However, he was acquitted soon since the witness suddenly disappeared while the jury died from food poisoning. This event marked the start of his reputation as James "Killer" Miller. It was said that Miller started his career as a hired gun and publicly advertised his fee for each murder. This resulted in rampant killing of lawyers involved with land claims, citizens with long-term enemies, and even Pat Garrett, who ended Billy the Kid, was believed to have met his end in the hands of Miller. Though it seems he was unstoppable, that was not the case. After a failed murder attempt, he was arrested and was sent to jail. While his case was on trial, an angry crowd broke into his jail and dragged him to be hanged outside. While standing in the box, he requested that his ring be sent to his wife. Then he shouted, "Let her rip," as he stepped off the box and met his end. To see the continuation of this video, click the following links to witness more interesting images and amazing content.